Hi there. Welcome back to Confidence on Cat. If this is your first time on here, please subscribe, turn on your notification so that you are the first to get to know whenever we upload new content, which is every Friday at 8 p.m. Today, I'd want to have a conversation about a condition that I've been dealing with or living with for a while now. And it's just a pity that no one, well, not that no one, there's not a lot of awareness out there for this particular condition. So there's a lot of awareness out there for sickle cells, cancer, all different types of cancer. But there's not a lot of awareness out there for lupus. So today, I want us to talk about lupus as a disease condition, what it is. Lupus is a long-term autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system becomes hyperactive and attacks normal, healthy tissue. Symptoms include inflammation, swelling, and damage to the joints, skin, kidney, blood, heart, and lungs. So that is the medical definition of lupus. My layman's definition of lupus, and for someone also living with it, I would say to you, my understanding, lupus is yes, it's an autoimmune system disease, but when you have a cold, even if you don't take medication, your body produces antibodies that attacks the cold and you get better. Okay, so in my situation, or in a situation of someone suffering from lupus, your body thinks that you're ill. So it is producing a lot of antibodies, but these antibodies have nothing to, they have nothing to attack because you're healthy. So they don't know, they're soldiers, so they don't know any other way to react but to attack. So then they attack your healthy organs, your tissues, blood cells and all that. So that's the layman, my layman understanding, or that's the best way I can explain it so that you can get it. If I think back to all the symptoms or all the illness I've had over the years, I have been living with lupus for a very long time, but I did not know that it wasn't diagnosed. So years back, the only thing that I get ill by is fatigue. I just get really tired and I can't move and I can't do anything. And we would go to the hospital, and I'm very health conscious. So every year I run my test. What I mean, I run my test. I run everything from top to bottom. You name it, I will run it. And during that time, I would run all the tests, and the only thing that comes back that was not right was my proteins were almost all the time high. And my doctors back home were like, oh, it's okay. There was no association to lupus or anything whatsoever. So, in all fairness to the doctors, it is actually a very tricky disease to diagnose because everyone's lupus is different. So even with medication, it doesn't mean because I have lupus, you have lupus, so when you take the same medication, you get better. No, everyone is treated differently, different doses of medications that you would take. So it wasn't caught back home in Ghana. It wasn't, and this is no fault. I'm not trying to blame the doctors or anything, but what I'm saying is that it's so sneaky. And the only time also that you can diagnose it is when it's, there is a flare. So if there is no flare, you can't diagnose it. It cannot be you cannot catch it. You have to, it's so sneaky that you have to catch it in the act. I think I've been living with it for a long time. And another thing that we need to also know is that lupus, you can inherit it. It's part of your gene. that will explain why I have been living with it for a long time, but haven't been diagnosed till about five years ago. Lupus occurs when your immune system attacks its healthy tissues in your body, which is autoimmune, but it appears that people with an inheritance predisposition for lupus may develop the disease when they come into contact with something in the environment that can trigger the lupus. So basically, you can have lupus, but it will not it will not be, it will not be alive, or you will not know, or it will not be out. It will not be affecting you till something triggers it. So it could be, I have a friend that had lupus and her trigger was perfume. I don't know my trigger yet. I don't know. So I don't know what my triggers are. I'm still, it's only 5 years that I've been diagnosed, so I'm still living with it. Oh, my alarm went off. Oh, okay. What's that? Okay, that's alarm to take medication. Guess. Lupus comes on when something triggers it. So it could be something in the environment. It could be anything. And I'm still trying to find what triggered mine. You can't have lupus, and it could be in the family for a long time. And I also know that you can also have it in your family, and it can skip generation. So meaning that it can skip a generation, and if nothing triggers it, you're fine, you're good. But if something triggers it, then you are in trouble. Like you really have to take good care of yourself. And mine, I was lucky enough that I was diagnosed when I was pregnant. So I would say, I would not say the pregnancy triggered my lupus, but the pregnancy triggered a flare. So I had a flare when I was pregnant, and that was how come, because they have been doing, before I got pregnant with my last born, Odin, they've been trying to find out why my proteins were high. So at some point, the doctors thought I had blood cancer, I had different things. We ran all the tests you can imagine. It was, oh my goodness, it was just, a lot was done just to, figure out what was wrong with me and why I was, I wasn't ill at that time. I wasn't ill. It was just my proteins were high, and my GP was like, no, this is not right. Your proteins in your blood should not be that high. And if it's that high, there must be some underlining, there must be something going on that it's not physical. It's not physical yet, or it's not visible yet. So they had to go in and do all the tests that they can to find out what was wrong before it became a big issue. So when I got pregnant with my son Odin, I felt ill, and actually my friend Sarah, she also had lupus. She was like, calm down. You see all these symptoms that you're saying, you're this, you're that, you're tired. I don't think it's pregnancy symptoms. Yes, you're pregnant, you're going to feel tired and all that, but it sounds like what I'm going through. So why don't you just tell the doctors to run and find out if it's lupus? And lo and behold, they ran it, and there it is. I had lupus. It took me a while to accept it. So basically, I was pregnant when I was diagnosed, and I was given medication, and I was like, no, I'm not taking it, because I don't know, I didn't understand what was happening. So I'm like, the best way is not to put any medication in my body so that my baby would have any problems and I'll have myself to blame. I would rather prefer to stay with the pain or go through the pain, so that once I have the baby, I can then start the medication fully. And I had this conversation with my consultants, and they were like, well, if that is what you want to do, that is fine, but we have to keep an eye on you so that if things are going really bad, we can jump in and try and save the situation. So it's not like I'm advocating that go and, well, you know, when they what's the name? Your consultant tells you take your medication, you go like you don't want to take it. No, you can't play. Lupus is something you can't play with it, because your medications are what actually relieve you of the pain and keep you going. You know, because there's no cure for it. There's no cure for it at all. You would say that cancer is a common thing just because a lot of people speak about it. Sickle cell is a common thing because a lot of people speak about it. I don't know how many people out there knows what lupus is actually. And we have big celebrities that has lupus, but for some reason it doesn't make the headlines. So we have someone like Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has lupus. Selena Gomez, she has lupus, and if you remember, there was a story that she had to have either a liver transplant or a kidney transplant. That was due to lupus. You have Nick Cannon. If you don't know who Nick Cannon is, he's a comedian. He's got he does a radio show, and he's actually, you know him better being Mariah Carey's husband. So that means Nick Cannon. Then you have Seal. I don't know. Seal is old. It's quite old school though, but that is Seal. I have similar. Mine have also started. So I've started having the scarring, and that is what I have. You know, on my nose here. I don't know if you can zoom in to see how it starts. So you have. So this how it starts. It starts off like that. So you have a flare, and when you have a flare, you have like a butterfly that comes onto your face, and when it goes away, you're left with this little scars, and then it just multiply to go on and go on and go on. And sometimes I just sit down and go like, okay, Confidence, with all the things that can happen with lupus, why must it be your face? Your pretty face is going to be scarred as time goes on. But hey, people have it worse than I do. I say that I'm a lucky case. I'm a lucky case. I am grateful that mine is the way it is. Not that I'm happy about it. I wish I didn't have it, but you have to live with it. Like, for example, right now that I'm talking, I am actually having a flare. And if you look, you can see that my face, my eyes are swollen. I think the swollen has even come down a little bit now. So went to bed all right yesterday, and then here I woke up and my joints are hurting, my eyes are swollen. So these are celebrities that have lupus. Oh, Toni Braxton, actually, I forgot that one. Toni Braxton also has lupus. I hope that me talking about it would also bring some form of awareness to it. That yes, lupus is something, and it's a difficult disease or condition to live with. Another thing is that if you are in Africa, it's also very difficult to actually diagnose this also, because when you get ill, normally they always be like, oh, you have malaria. And then funnily enough, the drugs that you use to treat malaria, which is is it chloroquine? Yeah, chloroquine. That is the same kind of drug that you're giving when you have lupus. So I was thinking, so all this time that when I was in Ghana, I would feel like, oh, I'm sick and I'll have malaria and they'll give me chloroquine and I'll get better. It's not because I have malaria. It is lupus, but it's just not diagnosed. I don't know if I'm making sense with what I'm saying, but you get my drift. Yeah, it's because it hides. It's not something that you can just go to hospital and that they find it. Another thing, actually, because my son was living with obviously he grew in me and grew with my antibodies. He had lupus for the first 8 months of his life, because it's only after 8 months that he would have his own antibodies and all that. So we had a few trip to the hospital When he was born, he had his whole lip were sore. He couldn't eat and things like that. So we went through that. I would say now I handle it better. Now I'm handling it better because now I've identified it as it's a condition that I've accepted, not identify. I've accepted it that it's a condition that I am going to live with for the rest of my life. So I better get acquainted with it. So I have identified it as Mr. Lupus. So me and it, we have a communication, like, So there are days I'll go like, you know what, Mr. Lupus, today I've got a busy day. This day I need to be healthy. I need to be strong, and so I can go by that day. And you know what? When I come back, you can take full control for as long as you want. And that is how I live with it. Like, I give it. You can't fight it. It's a fight you're not going to win. It's a fight you're not going to win. But also don't allow it to win. So no one wins. You just accept each other and you live on common ground. I'm talking about, you see, you really need to have this kind of attitude towards it so that you can live with it so you can go by your everyday life. Because it's such a difficult and painful disease. I don't like to give it words because I don't want to empower it. So I don't like to speak it into existence. I like to say condition. Diseases for me, like, okay, then you're going, and I'm not. Another thing I will have to make clear here: I don't want sympathy. I don't want pity. No. I'm too strong for that. I'm a strong person. I'm making this video for you to know that you can still be strong and still have lupus and still live with it. You just have to have a tougher mentality towards it. Like, you're not going to win. I'm not going to win. So we're going to we'll live together, cohabit, the two of us. That's how we're going to deal with it. And with that, when I found that way of dealing with it, I've been able to manage it better. Another thing is that it's actually tough on my family to live with me having lupus. And I give it up to my husband. He's such, oh my goodness, that man is such a godsend. He helps me with it. So there are days that he can't go to work because he has to stay home and take care of me. Because there are days I just can't go to the toilet. And I'm not talking about toilet. My toilet is outside my toilet is in my room. It's just a few steps away. And I can't even make those steps. I need to be helped. And another thing is, because of my lupus, we can live in a house that has steps. We have to live in a place that is flat so that I don't use a lot of energy, walking around and taking stairs or flats. Another way that I also deal with my lupus is I exercise a lot. So when I don't have flares, I put in a lot of work exercising. I do a lot of exercise and a lot of healthy eating. I also find it that my medication also worked better when I eat what's the name? Keto. So when I eat a lot of vegetables and I take out all the processed food out of my diet, I felt that my medication worked better. And that only happened, I only found that change, or I only made that change about a year and a half ago, when after watching a documentary called The Pill. And once I watched that documentary, my attitude towards my illness, condition changed. That, yeah, you can work around it. You can find ways to deal with it. My family, it's hard on my family because there are times that my little one is looking at me, oh, mommy, can you carry me? Mommy, hug. And I just can't pick him up. I just can't do it. And if you, okay, And this is to families or people around a person that lives with lupus. You would think that they are lazy. Because you're looking at me, you're looking at them, and you're like, oh, you're not red, you're not blue, there's nothing wrong with you, so why can't you just stand up? Oh, my darling, it's not that easy. I might look okay, but I just don't have the strength and the energy to stand up. And it's very difficult to explain it to someone that you're not being lazy. It's not like you're being lazy. It's just that you just can't do it. And I am very grateful that my family has been on the journey with me. My husband is a great support. Troy is amazing. I couldn't have asked for a better son than that. Odin, he's little, so he doesn't understand what goes, but I feel really bad as a mother that, okay, Odin will like, mommy, play with me, and I just can't play with him because I'm tired. So when I'm not having a flare, I just do everything and overdo it sometimes. Well, I can go on and on and on and on and on about lupus. We're going to be here for hours, but I would have to stop it somewhere because I would like to know if you're out there and you're living with it, or you have a family member living with it and you would want to, know more about it. Please comment down below, put your stories out there. Don't worry, you're going to hear more of lupus every time. Don't worry, this is me. So you have to look at it. My channel is me and Mr. Lupus. The day he comes, Mr. Lupus will come and talk to you, and the day he's not there, we get to do fun things, right? What about that? That's how we're going to do it. So you hear more about lupus, and I would continue talking about it so that awareness is out there. And let me know if you want to know anything. Comment down below, and make sure that you follow our unfiltered journey on Confidence on Cat. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube. Please subscribe, turn on your notification. You can follow us on Twitter. Did I say Facebook already? Okay, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And it's Confidence on Cat, Confidence with a K. Thank you so much. I hope I've opened the lid on what lupus is and what I have been living with as a condition. I don't call it disease, as a condition. Thank you so much, and hope to see you next time. Well, it's Friday, every Friday at 8 p.m. Stay blessed and stay beautiful. Bye-bye.